Hi and welcome to Beatles Beatles channel. Today I will be showing the 1982 Mono Export box, so come and join me. So hello and a fabulous warm welcome to Beatles channel here today. Hope I find all you fabulous Beatles people really well, and thanks for joining me here on the channel. Well, the subject for today's showing is a truly holy grail item, and it's the rarely seen vinyl box set, the Beatles Mono collection from 1982, and it's the Black Box Export edition, and it's also in incredible condition. So stay here for that, that'll be coming up very shortly. But before then, of course, it's time for... Yes, so it's on to them shout outs, and we're going to be saying a big hi to Paul Lee, Barry, Tom Auden, Texas Tom Auden, who saw the Beatles at the Cow Palace when he was 14 years old, you lucky man, Matthew Buzzell, Grover Baker, Pete Terry, Lucas and M. That's a big hi from yours truly, Beatle Dave. So anyway, on to the main event then today, and it's the Beatles Mono Collection Export Vinyl Box from 1982. So please, come and join me. In 1982, the Beatles Mono Collection BM1 was released, which was a very limited edition set exclusively contracted to EMI to design, produce and issue for export only. The black boxes were primarily made for the USA market and were numbered to 1,000 sets, with each one including a certificate of authenticity. At the same time, a UK red domestic box set, BMC10, was also made with 2,000 initial copies being produced. These boxes were not numbered, and rumours say that as the boxes sold out, duplicates were made and as many as another 9,000 boxes were issued. The black boxes sent to the USA quickly became scarce, with demand still high, so the red unnumbered box sets, originally intended solely for the UK market, were exported to the USA. The 10LP vinyl box includes all the dedicated mono mixes of the Beatles' 1960s released albums with a retro yellow and black Parlophone label, while the Beatles and Yellow Submarine had lighter, more updated Apple labels. So let's take a look. So here is then the Beatles Mono Collection BM1, and this really is an incredibly hard to find box set, very rare and very few turn up these days, and obviously 40 years on, and this particular example is in splendid condition. Got the Beatles Mono Collection in silver writing there, and obviously the facsimile autographs once again in silver. This is in really great shape, this particular box, really nice. And then we've got, once again on the side, you've got the Beatles Mono Collection and BM1 with the Parlophone logo and the serial number 168. And then inside the box, same design as like the Beatles LP collection, the blue box, but this time obviously this one's mono. Really fantastic. And then we've got the certificate of authenticity there with my number 168, and it's a limited edition of 1,000 box sets. So starting with the very first album then, which is obviously Please Please Me, catalogue number PMC 1202, and then we'll start with the sleeve. All these mono sleeves are reproduced really well. They're not laminated, but they're really nice still. That's a really good sleeve, this one, really nice and clean. Not bad for 40 years old, I guess. Has the Garrett and Lofthouse details still at the bottom, replicated just like the original, and obviously the catalogue number there, PMC 1202. Let's take a look at that spine then. And unlike the originals, these do have the catalogue numbers printed on the bottom right of the spine. So then we've got the standard EMI inner sleeve, which would have been around at the time, just the paper inner sleeve. So onto the Please Please Me vinyl, and these are all in great shape, because when I first got this box set, actually I transferred them all to tape, so this is why they've all remained in fantastic shape. Really lovely. And the labels are really fantastic. They're really faithful to the originals, except they've obviously got the word mono on the label now. And these were all manufactured in the UK by EMI Records on the rim. You've still got the P 1963 in the case of this particular record, as well as the matrix number above. But the matrix numbers on these albums are very similar to a lot of the 60s, as they must have used a lot of the same mothers. But this particular one is XEX 421-3 on side 1. And then on side 2, it's XEX 422-2N. So this is really in fantastic shape. Really great looking retro label, this one, and all of them. Really fabulous. So on to With the Beatles then. PMC 1206 is a catalogue number, exactly the same as the original. Slightly lighter picture on these reissues from 82, so you get more of a view of the second half of their face on these ones. And then on the back then we've got the PMC 1206 top right, exactly faithful to the original. It's actually got the proper spelling, You've Really Got a Hold on Me. And it's also got, bottom right, printed and made by Garrett and Lofthouse with the mono and stereo numbers. Really nice. And then we've got our spine. And the catalogue number on the bottom right. And the EMI printed inner from the time. So on to the With the Beatles vinyl then. On these reissues, got that retro label again, really looking good. Got them manufactured in the UK by EMI Records Limited on the perimeter there. And you got the P 1963, a little mono indicator above the parlophone. There's no sold in UK details on any of these records. And the matrix number on side 1 is XEX 447-8. I believe some of the With the Beatles were -7s as well, so these are possibly a recut for this particular album. And then we've got side 2, and the matrix number on this side is XEX 448-8. A lot of these early mono mixes don't have many differences, unlike some of the later albums, but still great to hear in mono. So on to A Hard Day's Night then, catalogue number PMC 1230. It's a really nice sleeve, this one, really well replicated. Really great looking. And on the back, once again, exactly the same as the original. Catalogue number top right. And then bottom, got the Garrett and Lofthouse details once again. Really smart looking sleeve. And then we've got the spine. And the inner from the time period. And then we've got the vinyl, the Hard Day's Night vinyl, and once again on the perimeter, manufactured in the UK by EMI Records Limited. And you've got the P 1964 and the little mono indicator above the parlophone there, no sold in the UK. And the matrix number is XEX 481-3N, which I think is the same as the 60s one. So they probably used the same mother in this case. These really do sound great, these albums, but I haven't compared them to the more recent mono box set, but it's something I must do. And that's side 2. Matrix number again is XEX 482-3N. So on to the Weary Faces of Beatles for Sale then. Catalogue number PMC 1240. Really still quite a flimsy cover. They've really not made this cover any better than it's ever been. Take a look at the back. In fact, it feels more fragile than the original, actually, this particular cover, because of the lamination makes it a little bit firmer, but these covers are just a little bit too fragile. And then we've got the spine. And onto the standard EMI inner, and onto the Beatles for Sale vinyl. Actually, this one feels quite a thick vinyl compared to some of the others. Once again, we've got the perimeter with the manufactured in the UK by EMI Records Limited, and the P1964 with the matrix number above, and the little mono above the parlophone there. The actual matrix number on side 1 is XEX 503-5. And on side 2, once again, matrix numbers XEX 504-3N. So on to the Help album then, catalogue number PMC 1255. Great photo. Not quite as light as the original sleeve. It looks a bit darker, this one, the actual images of the Beatles. Still quite nice though. And once again, got all faithfully reproduced on the back there. Catalogue number there, all the song titles, and the parlophone logo, the long play, 33 1/3, EMI Records, Hayes, Middlesex, England, and of course the Garrett and Lofthouse details with the mono and stereo variations. And then we've got the spine there. Onto the bulk standard EMI period inner. Then onto the Help vinyl. Sadly, the mix isn't as good as the stereo. Still very muddy, but it still sounds reasonable, but it's just not one of the better sounding Beatles albums, sadly. Got the manufactured in the UK by EMI Records Limited then on the label still, with the P1965 with the matrix number above, and the mono indicator above the parlophone there. And the matrix number on side 1 is XEX 549 and -3. And on side 2 it's XEX 550-2. So on to the fabulous Rubber Soul album, and the catalogue number is PMC 1267. Fabulous looking sleeve, this one, really great picture, fantastic album sleeve, one of the best. And then we've got the same details as always, got the mono indicator and then PMC 1267, also available in stereo, same details as you would expect there, and the printed by Garrett and Lofthouse. And there's our spine. Then the standard inner, EMI inner. So on to the vinyl then. I think this was the album that I realised there were such differences between the mono and stereo mixes. After being so used to the stereo versions, it was like a completely new listening experience with this album and many of the others. Certainly there's some differences on these particular tracks, being I'm Looking Through You and a couple of the others, but it certainly stood out. Once again, we've got the manufactured in the UK by EMI Records Limited. You've got the P1965 with the matrix number above and the mono indicator on the label. And the matrix number of this one is XEX 579-6. And on side 2, once again, matrix number is XEX 580-5. So on to the fabulous Revolver album then, catalogue number PMC 7009. It's quite a big jump there from the last catalogue number we had there with Rubber Soul, PMC 1267. So we've got the same as the original there, got a little mono indicator on the top of that sleeve, the Klaus Voormann drawing, and then we've got our Parlophone logo there with the Revolver title. Looking really sharp, looking really good. And we've got our catalogue number there, top right, but it's also available in stereo. And this really is vastly, if you've never heard the mono mix of Revolver, then it really has got to be heard. It really sounds really great to me. It's got some real good differences on some of the tracks, like I'm Only Sleeping or Tomorrow Never Knows. Fabulous album. And there's the spine. Onto the bulk standard EMI inner. So onto the Revolver vinyl then. And on the perimeter we've got manufactured in the UK by EMI Records Limited with the P1966 and the matrix number above that with the small mono indicator above the Parlophone logo there. And the matrix number on side 1 is XEX605-3. And then on side 2 we've got XEX606-4. So bearing in mind that the original was a -1 with the Tomorrow Never Knows Remix 11, which was followed by the -2. So quite possibly this is a new mother for these monos on this particular one. So on to the fabulous Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band album then. Catalogue number PMC 7027. Really great sleeve. How many of those people can you name? Fabulous album. Good pop art, this one. And on the reverse, all the lyrics to the songs. At the top we've got the mono details and the original sound recordings made by EMI. And at the bottom, the Garrett and Lofthouse details. And then we've got our gatefold sleeve and our spine, which is actually the right way up, unlike the original album, which is the wrong way round. And then we've got our cutouts, exactly the same as you would have got with the original. The bulk standard EMI printed inner there. So onto the fabulous vinyl then. And this one feels slightly thicker than some of the other albums actually. So yeah, it's quite a thick vinyl, this one. It's not 180, it's probably about 140 gram. But it's got the manufacturers on the perimeter there, manufactured by EMI Records Limited. It's got the P1967 with the matrix number above and the mono indicator above the yellow Parlophone logo there. And really, to me, this is the mix to have, is the mono mix. It's a fabulous mix, and it's the mix the Beatles worked on, of course. And the matrix number on side 1 is XEX637-1. And then on side 2, the matrix number is again XEX638-1. Now there is a mispressing on this particular vinyl. Some copies actually had side 2 playing in stereo. So look out for those. I believe the matrix numbers on those are 638-6-1-1. So they are possibly mispressed. So if you've got one, just check it. A fabulous album, this one. So on to the fabulous white album then. Catalogue number PMC 7067/8. Obviously there's no serial numbers on these. You've got the embossed Beatles there. There's nothing to tell you if it's mono or stereo. And then we've got all the details, all the track listings, and the guys on the right. And then on the spine, whereas the most copies have stereo and mono, these ones just have the mono number. And then we've got slightly different inner sleeves here. These ones have just got made in Great Britain, patent numbers on them. And there's 2 of those obviously. And then we've got our White Album poster that comes with every copy of the White Album. Standard poster with our lyrics. And then underneath that we've got our Photos of the guys, Ringo, George, Paul and John there. So on to record 1 of the White Album. I really do love the White Album mono mix. There's so many differences on a lot of the tracks that it's just such a great listening experience, and just a great album, really fantastic album. The matrix number on side 1 is XEX 709-2. These are slightly lighter Apple labels, but they're still great nevertheless. These are pretty good, these 80s ones. It's got the mono indicator there on the top right, where you wouldn't have had that on the original vinyl. You did on the stereo issues, but not on the monos. And on side 2, the matrix number on side 2 is XEX 710-2. That's in fabulous shape as well. Really nice. So on to record 2 then. Real nice weighty vinyl, this one, once again. It's got the mono indicator there above the PMC 7068. Real nice Apple labels. Really great to look at, these ones. Really pleasing to the eye, not too dark. Really great. Matrix number on this side is XEX 711-4. A fabulous mix, the mono one of the White Album. And on side 2, XEX 712-2. So on to the final mono LP then, which is Yellow Submarine, catalogue number PMC 7070, and this is just a fold down from the stereo mix. Also, some copies in this particular set had a stereo vinyl in a mono cover, which is a bit unfortunate, but it did actually happen. So there's the great sleeve then, lovely colourful sleeve with the Beatles and the Sgt. Pepper's Band and the Blue Meanies and the Flying Glove and everything else, Pepperland. And we got our mono indicator there top right. There's no red lines on these reissue sleeves, obviously, unlike the originals. And we've got the printed and made by Garrett and Lofthouse there. And then onto our spine. And onto our printed inner, EMI inner there. And finally, onto the Yellow Submarine mono vinyl. Another super Apple label. Really, really nicely done. It's got the mono indicator there above the PMC 7070. And the matrix number on side 1 is XEX 715-1. And you've got the George Martin score on side 2, which I really, really enjoy. It's a really great listen. And the matrix number on side 2 is XEX 716-2. Obviously the original Yellow Submarine mono is incredibly rare. So thank you all for tuning in today on the channel, and I really hope you've enjoyed the 1982 Beatles mono collection. I think you'll agree it's a real super set. Anyway, as always, I appreciate any comments I get from you guys, and I'll always come back to you as soon as I can. So next time I will be starting a brand new monthly series which is based on my Apple LP releases, starting with James Taylor, and I know a lot of people have been asking for this one, so here it comes. So anyway, be here next week, same Beatles time, same Beatles channel. So anyway, as always, if you enjoy what I'm doing, why not give us a like, subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future videos. This is Beatle Dave signing off.